finding the equation of a tangent line to a circle, there's a couple things we got to know. You need to know the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's just your change in y's over your change in x's, or you could say, some people say delta y over delta x, or rise over run is your slope. And we also need to know y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form of a line. So m is your slope, b is your y-intercept. And the third thing we really just need to make sure we remember is the term opposite reciprocal. And where that comes into play, if you remember, is the slopes of perpendicular lines are the opposite reciprocal of each other. And that just means if it's positive, it's negative, and if it's negative, it's positive, and then you flip the number. So if it's 2, then it's 1/2, or if it's 1/3, then it's 3, or if it's 2/3, then it's 3/2. So just keep those in the back of your mind as we go here. We're looking for a tangent line, the equation of a tangent line to this circle, and it's at the point 3, -2. And the big thing that I notice when I see this equation, I know it's going to be a little bit easier for me because there's no other number here. It's centered at 0, 0. You know, we could have written it like this: x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 13. But they just kind of knocked off the zeros here and just said x squared plus y squared equals 13. Just my radius would be square root of 13. I don't know that we need that right now, but that's what it is. So my circle is centered at 0, 0, so it's going to look something like this. Centered at 0, 0. And we're going to have a tangent line, and it goes through the point 3, -2. So 3 would be to the right 3, -2 would be down 2, so it's going to be something like that. So my line is going to look something like that. The next thing I need to make sure that I know is that I know that the radius of a circle at this tangent, at this point of tangency, and this tangent line are perpendicular to each other. So they form a right angle right here. And that's where the opposite reciprocal comes into play. The slopes of perpendicular lines are the opposite reciprocal of each other. So that's a big deal here in a little bit. So if I wanted to find, we're going to have an equation that looks like this in the end, but I can find the slope of this radius. I know what this point is. It's 0, 0. See if I can write that real small. 0, 0. And this point is 3, -2. I can find that slope. That's, let's write this. Slope of radius. And that's going to be m equals y's. So that's going to be -2 minus 0 over 3 minus 0. So that's just, what, -2/3? So that's the slope of the radius. That's not the slope I'm going to use right here for my tangent line, but that's the slope of the radius. So if I want to find the slope of the tangent line, all I have to do is find the opposite reciprocal of this. Well, the opposite reciprocal of -2/3 is positive 3/2. And so then I'm going to take this. So I have a slope for my tangent line, but I need to find the y-intercept. And once I find that y-intercept, I'm done. So I'm going to take this y equals mx plus b, and I have a slope, m, and I have a point. We have a point over here at 3, -2. So I'm going to plug in 3 for x and -2 for y, and I'm going to solve for b. So this would be -2 equals 9/2 plus b. And then I am going to just solve for b. So I'm going to subtract this 9/2 right here to the other side. And we'll get b equals, where's that? That would be -4/2 is equal to negative 2. Minus that is negative 13 over 2. So we're bleeding over into the next problem here, but that's okay. So I've got my y-intercept now, and I've got my slope. So that's easy enough. I can say the tangent line is y equals mx, so that's 3 over 2x, plus b, so that's negative 13 over 2. So that is my tangent line, the equation of my tangent line. This problem is pretty mainly because the center isn't at 0, 0. The center right here is going to be negative 1, positive 4. But we're going to do all the same steps. So if I wanted to, draw my circle just to give me an idea what I'm looking at, the center is going to be at negative 1, 4, maybe that's like right in there. That's my center. And then the radius is going to be the square root of that, which is 10. So it's going to go like way down here. So like, woo, that's just kind of part of the circle there. And I'm going to have a tangent line at the point 5, negative 4. So right 5 and then down 4. So like somewhere right in here. It's a terribly drawn circle, but you get the idea. Big thing I'm noticing right here is that my tangent line is going to have a positive slope. We'll get to that in a second. The big deal that I need to find first is the slope of my radius, because I know that once I find the slope of that radius, I can do the opposite reciprocal to find this slope, and then I can just plug in my point and my slope, and that'll give me my y-intercept, and I'll be done. So let's find the slope of this radius first. So slope of radius. M is going to equal y2 minus y1, so that's negative 4 minus 4 over 5 minus negative 1. So that's negative 8 over 6, which is negative 4/3. So that's the slope of the radius right here. Okay? And now if I want to find the slope of tangent line, that says tangent if you can't read. It's just going to be the opposite reciprocal of that. So the opposite would be positive, and then reciprocal, I'm going to flip it. So it's going to be 3/4. So I have a slope from my tangent line now. It's positive, it's going uphill, that's good. And I know that it goes through this point, 5, negative 4. So I'm going to plug it into this y equals mx plus b and solve for my y-intercept, then I'll be done. So I have my slope, that's 3/4, and I have my point right here. Negative 4 is the y, and the x is 5. So I'm just going to solve for b. So negative 4 equals 15 over 4 plus b. Solving for b, I'm going to subtract the 15 over 4 over here, minus 15 over 4. And if you can't do the fractions in your head, that's fine. Use your calculator. This is like saying negative 16 over 4. So negative 16 and negative 15. That'll give me negative 31 over 4. That's ugly. It's all right. And so then I'm just going to plug it in. I got my b and I got my m. So I'm going to plug it in to write my equation of my tangent line. So I got y equals m. Let's see if I can get right here. M is 3/4 x plus b. So that is the equation of my tangent line.